Hey, welcome to Cyber Talk with Bob and Chris. This week we got a special feature for everyone. Randy Randy Bryan from a security company down in Texas is going to share some interesting insight that happened over the past couple of weeks with some of the clients and some of the tools that he's using, and just figured we'd kick that off.
Yeah,
So,
great to be here. Great for having me. Thanks for having me on the show.
no,
Thanks,
thanks.
Sean.
So you want me to start off by telling what happened, or
Uh, we can jump right into that. Just to prep it up. Actually, why don't you just tell the story and
Tell the story.
We'll go from there.
well, short story long. We had a company, a client of ours. They're on our full stack cybersecurity solution, and he had an employee who left and then started calling his other clients. And that happens sometimes. It's probably in an industry where a lot of people know a lot of people, probably not a good idea. But anyway, he started doing it. And the owner of the company reached out to us because he was concerned that the ex-employee had stolen company data and was then going to use the company data to get other customers, which would be, that would borderline on the possibly being criminal.
Okay.
So he reached out to us and he's like, is there anything that y'all can do? It's another Texas company. We say y'all a lot. So anyway, he reached out to us. He's like, is there anything that y'all can do? And we're like, well, yeah, but seriously, we said, well, we'll go through his 365 logs and, I'll send you some of his logs and I will let you know, you can look through them and then let me know if you want to go any deeper. So I went in and we had logging turned on, and I went in and I basically pulled some logs that were basically just dealing with that one customer, with that one ex-employee's username. And it was in a spreadsheet form, and I sent it over to the owner. Just a couple hours later, he reached back and he was like, wow. And he wanted to dive a little deeper. And so we basically went into the logs and we were able to see the exact files that the ex-employee had been in. And we were able to see like what he downloaded, what he didn't download. Now, one thing you can't really tell, he could have had files open when they were using them in the course of business, could have made screenshots, but he's on a company-owned device. So he would have had to put those, into another folder other than one of the ones we're backing up that gets monitored. But short story long, it appeared that he had not specifically downloaded any company information. So we knew that he had called XYZ company, and we also could see in the logs that he hadn't specifically gone in and downloaded the XYZ folder. And we were able to narrow down his activity to his last few days. So we went all the way back, months in advance. Didn't see anything at all suspicious. We got down to his last few days, and he actually reached out to another employee and basically, I don't know how you say this, but basically it was like, hey, you want to go in cahoots on what's fixing to go down? He was fixing to leave and start another company.
Yep.
The crazy thing was she didn't really go along with it, but she also said, email me on my personal email address. And so they basically, at that point, the communication stopped and they took it offline.
Yep.
So that employee ended up quitting, basically over this. So you had the ex-employee reaching out on his way out. And then after he was out, reaching out from his personal email to her. None of it looked super suspicious, except that she had gone through and deleted all of her email. So we backed up the emails because the logs pointed us to her emails. So we got into the emails. We back up the emails. They're backed up 4 times a day. And so we saw this conversation going on and, hey, here's my personal email. And then she deleted everything. And so then after that point, her entire email was she had basically cleaned everything out. And so that was enough for her to end up quitting because it looked very, very suspicious, But at the end of the day, my customer had peace of mind. Sometimes people are going to do that. And really, if he wanted to start his own business, this customer would have been like, hey, go start your own business. It's all good. It didn't have to be this negative interaction or whatever. But at the end of the day, he had peace of mind knowing we knew exactly what the other guy did. And we knew that it looked like he didn't break laws. It appeared that, he was just kind of trying to steal customers, basically, if you will. So that's kind of the gist of it.
So there's a lot to unpack on what you just said, because a lot of people could be listening to this call and saying, "Oh, this is great. If I have an Office 360, if I'm using my Office 365, I've got all this logging features, and I can just ask my IT guys to go look at it whenever something happens." And from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you've got a lot of advanced Office 365 features which aren't in the standard package, but it also sounds like you have some additional things built into your advanced security stack that really helps set your customer at ease.
Yes. Yeah. Some of this stuff is not turned on by default in 365, and it's something that you ought to have turned on for sure. Would be at least the basic logging, where it's keeping, I think it's 90 days, where it keeps 90 days of everything.
Yeah.
I think Chris, we talked about this in the green room a little bit. I think Chris knows more about that. But it's definitely something that you want to have turned on. And then another thing customers never think about is backing up their 365. But this particular case, this is one of the reasons why you want to. You had an employee go in, obviously they were planning something, turns out probably wasn't illegal, but, it doesn't shed a good light on an existing employee to be planning something with an ex-employee, which went in and deleted everything. What if you had an employee that was upset at you or, was just super passive aggressive and mad at the world? It was like, okay, I quit. I'm going to delete everything, empty out my recycle bin, and then leave. So
I got stories like this too. To your point, one of the things you have to do in 365, we had somebody that had an incident come to us. They didn't have audit logging turned on, and this is kind of what Randy's talking about. If that's not turned on, when you turn it on, the only thing you're going to get is logins for the last 7 days. So and if your tenant is too old, that means you've had Microsoft 365 for like a while. It's probably not enabled, so it's something you want to go enable. But we had a customer where they had somebody in their AP department nuke their entire AP shared mailbox. Oops. Now we were backing it up, same as you, but we had to restore it, and it's just like it was thousands of emails that they didn't take some of that information out. And to your point, like, first of all, that was a little bit more detrimental just because it wasn't just one person's email. This is actually affecting like an entire department. But like, yeah, it's something that happens a little bit too often. One thing that I think, to your point too, is cloud gives us this logging, this ability to view like who has access to files, download, and stuff like that. When it's on premise, that's a much more difficult situation to deal with. Like, you could see in 365 when somebody deletes a file, you can see that. But like in a Windows server, like let's say you're doing server on site, like if somebody just copies a file, unless they move it, it doesn't actually get recorded right. Mm-hmm. So you could copy a bunch of files and people won't even know. So,
and that's all the added benefits of people that of pushing stuff out to the cloud services now, because we're getting all this additional logging, tracking, and other things that are going on. I got a call. I got a 911 call Saturday morning from one of our clients that accidentally deleted the top level client folder, and
oops.
Yeah, so we were able to easily get it back, but he's like, I hit the wrong button. He actually moved it someplace else, but but we got him back up. But no, back to the audit logging, Chris. The standard, what is it, $7 a month basic Office 365 email accounts. They don't have the right licenses and the right Microsoft features, that we can even enable the 30 days or 90 days logging.
Yeah, it's kind of I guess it's a paywall situation. I guess you want to call it that, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to get what you pay for. So if you're paying for the extra security, if you go up to like in 365, obviously if you go up to business premium or above, then you're paying for that extra security and you get access to a lot of that stuff. So
Randy also made a comment about the way that they back up their client data. Most backup systems are typically maybe once a day.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were going above and beyond that.
Yeah, this particular software you use does it 4 times a day, and which really, if you look at it, that's every 6 hours. So it really happens once during the business day, and then once at night. I mean, there are 4 total, but hardly anybody's doing anything between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. the next day. So you basically get 1 snapshot during the day, and then 1 after hours. But you get 3 after hours. But you know what I'm saying. It's
also funny because like a lot of people don't understand this, but cloud services, they rate limit how much you can back up. That's why, like, to your point, it's usually 1 or like up to like 4 or 5 times a day. You can't do hourly because they won't let you. Like Microsoft and Google both limit like how much data you can pull out. Right. So that's why these services. That's why when you do like go to one of these services, you can't have hourly backups. That's one of the downsides. But honestly, are you missing much in 6 hours? Probably not.
One of the things you mentioned is a notification when files are deleted, and you do get a trigger in Office in 365. You get a trigger when I think it's 11 files or 12 files get deleted. Yep. And on one hand, so we see all these notifications. They come across that actually is an elevated notification when there's like, I think it's 11 or 12 files get deleted. On one hand, that's like not a big deal because we know we're backing everything up. But on the other hand, if you start getting email after email after email after email that says 11 files were deleted, 11 more were deleted, 11 more were deleted, then you're potentially could be watching an employee,
Well, if you're lucky, it's an employee. It could be a bad guy.
Well, another reason for notifications too is you can do it. You can make custom notifications, especially depending on what software you're using, for like mailbox rules. And one of the key metrics that you'll see in like a account takeover is they'll start making mailbox rules. So if you say, "Hey, trigger an alert if there's more than like 2 or 3 mailbox rules made within a 24-hour period," that can say, "Hey, this account has been compromised," even if you've seen the other logs, or maybe it doesn't look compromised, it hasn't been alerted for that, but that inbox rule could at least point you to the direction that, hey, you know what? Maybe we should look at this.
Yep.
Because that's not normal for people to make 3, 4, 5 inbox rules usually in a day. Like that's a little bit abnormal. In the worst case scenario, you look at it, and if it's legit, it's legit, and if it's not, you obviously take action. So it's amazing what you can do now with like just logging and the ability to do like automation.
It is. It really is.
Cool. So, well, Randy, I know you've got a business to run and a company retreat, I think you said, but
yes,
that's all good. Thanks for joining us today. And
is the pool indoors?
The pool is outdoors, but we're in Texas, and it's been like 85 degrees. So
okay, all right. Well, some places in Texas weren't that warm a couple of weeks ago, so you got to wonder about that.
That's right.
There you go. That's good.
Well, guys, if you are in Texas, or you're in New Jersey or Minnesota or anywhere else in between, comment on Michigan. That's right. I don't know why that was a previous call. Anyway, comment below if there's somebody else, some other topics you would like to hear in the future be on here. And like I said, today was a special day. It wasn't just Chris and Bob ranting and raving, and Chris was kind of calm today.
Oh, I got plenty to rant on. I was trying to let Randy.
Okay.
Let Randy tell the story. That's good stuff. This is important for people to hear. So
until next week, Chris will definitely lighten us next week. Make sure that your Office 365 environments are safe, secure, and protected. And if you need help and your IT guys don't know, reach out to one of us, and we'll make sure that everything is covered.
And before we go, the last thing I'll say is my trigger word for the week is GoDaddy. All right.
Oh, yeah.
We're done. Have a good week, guys.
Goodbye, everyone.